Perfect. Perfect. Perfect.
What is going on, everyone? I go by RB, and this is Philly Take with RB. If you have been supporting and enjoying the content of the channel, go ahead and smash that like button for me. And if you're new to the channel and want to stay updated with some great Philly content, we'll go ahead and hit that subscribe. So today, I want to talk about the Eagles cornerback position, okay? I know we've talked about running backs, we've talked about wide receivers, and on the stream last night, we did discuss cornerbacks a little bit. Appreciate everyone that came out to the stream. But today, I want to talk about it a little more in depth, and I want to know from you guys, which cornerbacks do you think will make the Eagles roster in 2020? So let's get into my opinion a little bit. So I feel, this is the first offseason in at least a few, maybe even more, that, the Eagles put defense first when it came to free agency. Howie went out and he made a splash. He was like, we just went all in on defense. Whether it's Slay, whether it's Javon Hargrave, whether it's Will Parks, Jatavis Bryant, we can go on and on. We really didn't do anything in terms of offense. Not like, we needed to, but we really went out and got all these components in free agency in terms of defense, right? And I think it is time. The Eagles are like, we have to make this the biggest priority because, come on, us the Eagles fans know, Sunday after Sunday after Sunday for years now, it's just, me personally, I'm tired of watching the Eagles corners get burnt. Okay, and it's not 100% their fault. The scheme could be better. Jim Schwartz, he has to do a little better with adjustments, moving the pieces around, not leaving guys on an island. But some of it does come down to the players. You can't get beat on these double moves, play after play after play. I think it all starts with what we've done this offseason in terms of prioritizing it first. And first off, even before the players, we have a new DB's coach, Juan Manuel from the Falcons. I was never too big of a fan on Corey Unlin. I think even some of the guys we've had before him haven't really done a good job. And, Corey Unlin kind of followed, in their tracks, really hasn't done too much. And I'm surprised he got a new job with the Lions. But anyway, he's out of here. Now we have Juan Manuel, who I like. They've talked about this guy being upbeat, getting these guys up and rocking and going. And, Juan Manuel has been with the Seahawks as a secondaries coach when they reached the Super Bowl. Juan Manuel was a DB's coach for the Falcons, when their defense was pretty good and they reached the Super Bowl. And he got promoted to the defensive coordinator for the Falcons. And that's where he's been the last couple years. So he has some experience behind him. I've heard good things about him and I like him. I think he's going to come in here and have a good impact on these boys. First off, I think Darius Slay was probably the biggest acquisition of the offseason. I mean, it's about time, right? It is about time. I've been so sick of watching these corners play for years. It's been, honestly, in my opinion, since Asante Samuel, the last time we had a shutdown, lockdown corner that I could say, I trust that guy every single Sunday. He's going to come out. Now, corners are going to get beat, right? It happens. It's probably the hardest position to play in football, at least a top 2, top 3 hardest position, because you can't even touch these famous, best athlete in the world wide receivers. You can't even touch them without getting a flag. So it's hard, okay? It's hard. But I just see the same mistakes week after week. I think Darius Slay is a crazy acquisition. Obviously, he's going to be cornerback number 1. He's going to have to guard the best receiver. Jim Schwartz is going to have to move him around, put him on the best piece. And I think he's going to have that type of impact where, they're not going to be throwing the ball his way that much. A lot of people have said, Darius Slay's regressed. Even though he's made the Pro Bowl the last 3 years, people are saying, Darius Slay hasn't looked that good. But think about this, all right? Like I said, everyone gets beat once in a while. In 2017, when he had 8 interceptions, when he was that guy, made the All-Pro, right? And the last couple years, he's had 3 interceptions, 2 interceptions. That's fine. You can look at the stats, but think about it. Guys are not going to be throwing the ball his way that much after that year in 2017. He's just that good. You don't want to throw the ball his way. It's just like Richard Sherman. He had a lot of interceptions, and it's gotten smaller over the years, but it's because they barely even go his way. And I think Slay has that type of impact with the guys we have on the D-line, the linebacker pieces now, even some of the safeties that we got all the competition in there. I think we're going to be able to move pieces around. You can leave Slay out on his own line, on his own island with one of the best receivers, and for the most part, he's going to do his job. He's going to get it done, and I think that's going to have a great benefit. Slay is an amazing piece, and then we get to the number 2 corner, and that's where it gets tricky. Who do we put out there? In my opinion, I think the Eagles actually are going to try Sidney Jones. I think we're going to try Sidney Jones at first. You know, he's been working with this trainer, Ronnie Braxton. He's been working on his mental, his physical, right? And Sidney Jones, a few years back out of Washington, I thought he was a great corner. He was supposed to go in the first round, and he ended up tearing his ACL, you know, through the combine process, and he dropped. And I thought it was a steal for the Eagles, you know, in the second round. I think that they're going to give Sidney Jones the shot to compete for this outside corner. But honestly, it's probably his last. He has to show something. You know what I mean? He has to show that he is different now. He has to show that he has what it takes to be an NFL corner. If not, I think the limb is going to be very short on Sidney Jones. They're going to give him a shot, in my opinion. But ultimately, I'm not sure that he's going to take the spot. I think that it's probably going to go to Avonte Maddox for the most part. I think he will be our corner too. You know, he's shown glimpses of it, even though he's a little bit undersized. I like the mentality that Avonte plays with. He's aggressive. You know, he'll go and dive to go and deflect those passes. He doesn't just sit back like our other corners. He doesn't just play, you know, 5 feet off a guy and let him catch it and then tackle him. I hate watching that. Again, some of it is the scheme. You know, even when we should be playing man, we're playing zone sometimes. Some things have to get changed. Like I said, Jim Schwartz has to work on that. I think Juan Manuel is going to be great. But I like how Avonte Maddox plays, and he's going to be benefited a lot more having Darius Slay on the other side of the field and not having to, you know, to take the challenge of guarding one of the best receivers. I know we've had these injuries in the last couple of years, so some of these smaller guys, some of these guys who haven't had a lot of experience have been asked to step up and be that guy, and it's hard. But I think having Darius Slay on the other side, a lockdown corner, is going to benefit Avonte Maddox very well. I think he's going to end up probably fighting out for the second cornerback position, even though pieces will be moved. Guys will be, you know, put in different situations. I think Sidney will probably be that third corner. And when we look at the corner, when we look at the slot corners, I think that robey-coleman will probably get the nod. And I also think Crevion LeBlanc still has something to prove. I think he's shown that he can be a solid slot corner. He just has to keep his feet under him, stay healthy, and I think he's going to get some snaps as well. I could also see Jalen Mills probably coming back and playing at least a few snaps at corner. You never know, because in terms of the safety position, I know he wants to move to safety and kind of start new. But let me tell you, we have a lot of competition at safety. We got Rodney McLeod. Kayvon Wallace just continues to impress. I think he's going to try to fight for that starting role. And then you also have Will Parks that you signed in free agency, who can be, you know, he can be solid at times, and he's shown that if he gets his groove, gets going, he could be solid for the Eagles as well. So there's only a certain amount of guys you're going to have on the field at one time. So I think you're going to have to plug in and play these pieces in different kinds of situations. And, you know, a lot of depth is a good problem to have. I think we're going to have to see how things go as we go throughout training and preseason and all that good stuff. You know, Rasul Douglas, I don't think he will make the roster. I think his time's up, honestly. I know we've been trying to trade him or whatever. I don't think he'll make it. Trevor Williams, I think he's a very long shot. He could possibly be here. I know he was viewed as a valuable corner a couple years ago, but again, he hasn't been able to really stay healthy like that. I don't think Trevor Williams makes this roster. But, you know, overall, like I said, I think Darius Slay will be that piece. I mean, I'm probably going to get this guy's jersey. I think he's going to have that kind of impact. And finally, I will finally feel relieved to watch these Eagles corners. I mean, I've been waiting so long for us to get a lockdown corner, and I think this is finally the time where they said we are going to go out and get that guy. We're going to get him. Big play Slay, one of the best corners in the league. No doubt about it. I think he's going to have a great impact on not only the defense, but the other corners as well. Like I said, I think we're going to rock with Avonte Maddox at number 2, and Sidney Jones will get a shot, but I don't know if he's going to make that leap. If he does, great. I'm supporting all these guys. And in terms of the slot, I'll go Nickel Robey-Coleman. I think Crevion LeBlanc will get some snaps. And possibly Jalen Mills might come in and play a little bit of corner. Like I said, you got to move the pieces around the board. You got to adjust. You got to... It depends what kind of offense you're playing, but Slay has to be on the best receiver, and these guys have to be moving around. No more sticking 10 yards off your man on a third down and giving them first. No, I'm tired of it. We have these pieces. They can hold their own now, and with the depth on the defensive line, with some of these linebackers who I think are going to be good in coverage, can move around the field. I think this is the time, and with safeties, you know, all these guys continuing to impress. I think this is the time when the Eagles defense makes that leap, with Juan Manuel there motivating these guys, getting them ready to go, with Jim Schwartz. Hopefully he has learned, because let me tell you something, if Jim Schwartz does not learn, if we see some of these games again, just like last year where things just go lunatic, you know, and guys are just doing whatever, just sagging off, we're getting beat, letting up 30 points a game. Let me tell you, Jim Schwartz might not be here after this next year or two if we see a lot more games like that. So I think everything has to be in check. And number one, like I said, the most important factor always, health, right? You know, the last couple years we've been down a third string, fourth string corners. We have to stay healthy. I hope these guys do, and I hope we have a successful season. You pair that defense with what I'm expecting out of this Eagles offense, and this team is going to be pretty solid, in my opinion, if we stay healthy. But let me know your guys' thoughts down below. Which corners do you think are going to make the Eagles roster in 2020? Who's going to start? Let me know what you guys are thinking and why. Appreciate you guys for stopping by. Appreciate all the support. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will catch you on the next one. Peace.
Perfect. Perfect. Perfect.